yourself asking the question or wondering inside, why is it that people don't hear me? Why is it that I'm not understood? If so, that's exactly what this video is going to talk about, but also teach you how to overcome that. This video is 100% about my personal experience. I used to say that all the time when I worked in corporate America. I used to ask my friends and colleagues, do I speak like Charlie Brown's teacher? Because I must sound like romp, 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 because I'm saying things and I'm not heard. I don't understand what's going on. Well, I'm going to tell you, I have found a way to overcome this, so I want to teach that to you now. So I know this topic so well because I am the founder of Be You to Be Full Hypnosis and Coaching. And in that capacity, I'm a life coach, I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and I'm also an NLP specialist. NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And so I really polished everything through those studies and the work that I do now. And so I'm Connie Jo Holmes, and it's nice to meet you. So anyways, let me get right into it. So one of the reasons why you might feel like you are communicating, but people either aren't understanding you or they're just simply not hearing you. It's really for two reasons. One is the pre-frame that you're using, and two, the other one is setting context. Now, they're somewhat closely related, but yet they're different. So I'm going to start with setting context. So what I used to do is I knew in my head what I wanted to communicate. So since I already knew what I wanted to communicate, I would just jump right in to the point of what I wanted to say. And I never set the context. I don't want to say I never did, but I rarely would set the context. So therefore, I would believe I was speaking clearly, and I just didn't understand why people didn't understand me. But the reason they didn't is because I somewhat came in right at the middle. But since it was new for those people hearing it, they needed to have some context actually set. And I actually had a former boss that used to talk about that. And honestly, at the time, it made me kind of crazy. But now, in hindsight, I really completely understand what she was saying. So here's an example. Let's say I am running a workshop, and it is a workshop to teach everybody about the vital importance of having personal values, okay? And so I know the importance of it. I have them myself. And so let's just say I start this workshop and I jump right in and say, well, today's activity, we're going to talk about having personal values. So get out your pens and a piece of paper right now and start writing down those things that are of most importance to you. Well, to me, that makes sense because I know what we're doing and I know what that end goal is going to be. But that person receiving that information would sit there and be like, oh, okay. They're going to be a little bit confused and like, important to me, how, when, in what capacity? They might have all sorts of questions. So instead, what I needed to do was to actually set context. And in that example, it could be something along the lines of, today's workshop is to talk about the importance of personal values. Let me explain to you, in case you don't know, what personal values are. And then I would give some examples of that. I would explain why they're very important. I might give a personal story in there, just different things like that. But all of that is setting context. So instead of somebody coming in midway into my train of thought, they're coming in at the very beginning. And you know what? In hindsight, when I look back at so many of those times where I felt like I wasn't heard or understood, I wasn't setting context. So I wanted to share that concept with you because I think it can be very, very important, but also kind of easy to forget about or not realizing what you're doing because, again, we're in our heads and we know what we want to say, so we come right out here. So just remember that the next time that you are communicating to anybody, but especially to a group of people. So the other part of this is our pre-frame. Now, our pre-frame, a lot of that is really based in our mindset and our thinking, how we're thinking and viewing a situation. However, it's also then about how we communicate that, all right? So one, it's really important for us when we stay on our own heads to just know and pay attention to our pre-frame. But then when we are communicating to another person, it's really important to be mindful of our preframe. So what is a preframe? A preframe is, I'm going to tell it to you by giving an example. A preframe could be, and this is a preframe in my mind. I am going to shoot a YouTube video, and the last time I did it, I forgot to plug in my microphone. True story. I forgot to plug in the right microphone, and I shot this beautiful 10-minute video, and then when I went back to edit it, the sound was garbage. So I had to redo everything. And I do those types of things all the time. Why can't I remember that very important detail? Well, that's an example about a pre-frame coming into this opportunity to shoot a YouTube video. Well, that's just a pile of garbage I'm standing on because it's all negativity. It's a little bit of dread. It's all these types of things. So rather, a better pre-frame would be, I get an opportunity to shoot this YouTube video again. And you know what? I double checked that I have the right microphone plugged in and everything is good to go. And since I had an opportunity to shoot this video twice, it's going to be even better than that first one. Well, just imagine now what kind of video that I am going to shoot, because that pre-frame was one of more of a productive mindset, that type of thing. So that's when we're in our own head. But now if we're communicating to somebody else. So let's say you're in a business meeting and let's say it's coming close to quarter end and things aren't going quite as well as what we had planned, and we need to break that news in this big business meeting. So a pre-frame, without thinking about it, a pre-frame could be, I've got the worst news for us ever. It's really what we thought was going to happen, and sure enough, here it is. We are $1 million behind our target goal. Well, how do you think that's going to be received? I mean, that's tough information anyway, but just starting it with that pre-frame is you're going to have everybody on edge, and they're not even going to be hearing your words. They're going to be like, get to the point. What is it? How bad is it going to be? And then when you deliver it, you already told them it's going to be bad, so it's going to be bad. And that's how it's going to be received. Versus having a pre-frame of something like, I'm here to give you the news for the quarter end, and it might not be the news that we were hoping for, but I want to tell you, prior to coming into this meeting, I thought about this long and hard, and I have 3 different possible solutions that can help us turn this around before year end. So now I want to share with you what I found. And then you give to them the information. So that one feels a whole lot different, doesn't it? That one feels like, 1, you're not just dumping something on them. 2, you are setting them up like, okay. But then thirdly, you're coming in it with a solution. And you're also giving them that hope that because of one of these solutions that you've already thought through, it can really help the situation turn around and be a better one than what you might think right now. So, and again, these are off the top of my head. So, but you get where I'm going with this. But then also hand in hand with all of these things is the energy that we have, right? And maybe even just, hearing me say these different made up scenarios now, you could see my body language. Maybe you could feel the energy that I delivered it with. And we need to be mindful of that as well, because our body language with all of this, our body language with setting context, our body language with having a pre-frame and delivering, verbalizing that pre-frame is really, really important. That leaning in versus this, the sitting up straight with confidence. I have 3 viable solutions for us. I mean, our body language really, really supports every single thing that we're saying as well. So, all right, I want to keep this short. So I just wanted to come in here and offer this to you. So it is being mindful of our pre-frame, not only in our own minds, but also the pre-frame that we verbalize, because that can make or break our communication, especially if we are talking to somebody about possibly helping us with something or whatever it might be. And then the other thing is remembering that when we do deliver information, to set that up with some context. So that that person is coming in at the beginning with us, because by doing that, we help ensure that they're hearing us and that they're going to understand us. Those two things can be the lifesavers in great communication. Now, I hope you liked this video. If so, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And also, if this is of interest to you and if you need my support in any way, whether it's with communication or with anything related to life coaching or hypnosis, please look in the description box to set up a free 30-minute consultation call with me. All right, thank you so much. Bye-bye.